All right, everybody, welcome back. We're live for day 2 of the Longhorn Legacy Sale. Today or the Legacy Sale, they're going to be selling the mature cows here in just a couple hours. But we've got some pretty cool interviews lined up for today, so we're excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited about the event today. A lot of people, there was some buzz this morning that today is really going to be the day.
Yeah, there was definitely some buzz. Yesterday they sold the heifers. Today, like I said, they're selling the more mature cows, so it should be fun.
Yeah.
And you can watch the sale itself on Hired Hand Live. We're doing this podcast. We talked about it some yesterday, but we do this to talk to different people as people are milling around and try to get some insight from experienced breeders and experienced cattlemen. So we're excited about it.
So Hired Hand has their feet in, or their hands, I should say, in a lot of different stuff. They seem to be really hitting on a lot of things that people are interested in.
Yeah, Hired Hand does the website software. They'll design and build you a website with the Longhorn pedigree software on there. Then they do the live streams for the sales. They do like graphic design and stuff like that. So, yeah, they provide services for the Longhorn industry and some other industries as well.
Can you talk a little bit about the virtual bidding that happens? Because that does happen, right?
Yeah, definitely. So you can watch the sale on Hired Hand Live. They do most of the sales in the Longhorn industry of pedigreed animals. You can watch that live on Hired Hand and actually bid online. They accept bids. You have to register. You put in your information and all that, but then you can actually bid online.
Okay.
And purchase the animals, and then you just have to set up, hauling to get them where they need to go after that. But, yeah, you can actually bid virtually. You don't have to be here in person if you can't make it.
And so watching it, is that when Chase will point to the computer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you might see that.
Okay.
As Dan's up there, he'll have his laptop or whatever, and a lot of times I'm not exactly sure how they do it. Maybe if one of them walks by, we can ask. But Hired Hand usually has a representative here, usually Jamie, and she sets everything up and kind of keeps track of it. And then they're in communication with Dan, or the auctioneer, and Chase on the block, and to make sure they catch those online bids and the bids in the room. How are you, Wayne?
All right, so we got some exciting guests coming up.
Yep, we're going to interview the Cool Hand Luke Checks partners.
And just as a reminder, Cool Hand Luke Checks is the Spotlight Bull.
That's
is
right.
That correct?
Yes, sir. We're going to let these guys talk about him, but okay. No worries. We'll wait until everybody gets over here. But we were just talking a little bit about Cool Hand Luke. Mr. Loomis, if you won't mind picking up that microphone there.
Is it ready to roll?
Ready to roll.
We're live, yeah, and I'll let you know we're live on Facebook and YouTube. And then it's recording, so we'll release it on some other stuff later, too. But
Is this live or can we edit, Bob?
it's live. Yes, sir.
Oh, it is live.
Yes, sir. And this is y'all's microphone here if you want to pass it back and forth and just try to keep it pretty close when we're talking. But
If Bob gets carried away, that's what your elbow's for.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes I get on a roll.
It's live, boys.
yeah, you're good. So we got the Cool Hand Luke Checks partners. We have Mr. Bob Loomis, Randy Murry, Tom Buxton, and Wayne Manning. And if you want to just introduce yourself and talk, you can talk a little bit about your ranch, and we'll ask you some questions about.
Okay, well, Cool Hand Luke's a really fun topic to talk about. He's kind of I think he's the most amazing young bull we've raised. He's got the complete package, the color, the conformation, the horn. We're just pretty proud of him. And another thing about him is he's no accident. He's out of one of the most powerful producing families I own. His mother's a young cow named Hawaiian Dancer. She was a yearling during COVID, and there was only one futurity. I took her to it. She won a class of 36, and that was her only futurity. But then her mother, Indian Dancer, she's a daughter of Cowboy Up, which has been one of my leading producers. So the production in his family line is huge. And on the top side, the same thing. But I'm a big believer in the female line, and he's so strong in that female line. And I always thought, well, he's bred to be a producer. Well, when I saw that set of calves that Tom and Wayne brought here to show with him, well, there's no doubt. I mean, that's as beautiful a set of calves as you're going to look at that. There's no doubt now that he's a producer after seeing them.
Yes, sir. I've heard you say that a few times, that you believe that he's the best bull you've raised. And that's saying a lot, if you know.
Well, we've raised a lot of bulls, and we've been pretty proud of a lot of them. But, you know, Luke adds that little extra. I've never seen a bull as loud colored as he is. Maybe some as loud colored, but his color pattern is so unique. It just stands out. He'll make you look at him.
Yeah, I can see that. And y'all got several pins out there with some calves in them. Some of his daughters and a couple sons, I think, right?
Yeah, there's 2 sons and 7 daughters.
Okay.
And when you walk down through them, you just can't hardly fault them. They're beautiful. And color, there's not one of them doesn't have beautiful coloring. And, you know, for a bull to be that strong on every trait like that, it's special.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you about one of the things that makes it so special now.
You good?
Luke he is. I don't know if people pay attention to the color code. He is an E, big E plus little E, big E plus big E, which means it's impossible for him to throw a brown cow. So every cow, Wayne and I both have one that started brown, but they're brindling up and almost will black out because of the color. So he is, as you said, Bob, he is the most colorful. And his babies, and we both have other ones that we didn't bring, and I've got a couple black already out of him.
Wow.
So his color is really exciting, and as Bob said, it's that Hawaiian dancer that throws those long legs, and I mean so when I saw that, just Buxton Ranch, when I saw Luke bred Hawaiian dancer, I called Wayne immediately. I said, "Man, y'all need a partner." I'm in on this thing. But anyway, he's a colorful bull, and as you've seen those babies out there, it just doesn't get much better than
Yes,
that.
sir.
We're real excited about that.
Every one of them out there's got something going on, a little bit different than the one next to him. So
And
that is exciting.
Their horns are looking good, and they're all going back. And yep. So, you know, I think, as Bob said, it's the best bull he raised. But the proof's in the babies, and so far the babies are really looking really good.
Absolutely.
When we decided to the semen, the amount of semen we were going to sell, we limited it to 100, and the price point was set where it needed to be serious breeders,
Right.
putting them on serious cattle, so the progeny reflected that, and that was very, very important to us. The limit of 100 straws, I think that controls the progeny, what people are doing. So that we really get fantastic calves out of them. So it was strategic, and we've had multiple calls today about wanting more straws, and we could probably sell another 100, but I promise you we will never, ever sell another straw of Luke semen, ever. That's it. We committed to that 100. That's the end deal. So anybody that bought, they're in. They're locked in, and it's almost like buying into the partnership, truly. That's the mindset that it's a very special bull, put on very special cattle, and we're going to see the results.
Yeah. Giving him the best chance of success, making sure that he's going on high caliber females, right? That way you can see it reflected in the progeny. I think we see a lot of bulls that don't necessarily get their shot because they're on cows that might not be the same caliber as they are. Or I don't know if you can speak to that. You've been around a long time, so.
Well, the worst thing you can do to a bull is price his semen cheap, because that's the semen that are going to go to a bunch of average cows. You just can't have that.
Right.
You need to price that semen where they can't afford to put it in an average or below average cow, if nothing else, to protect your bull. But when he's talking about his offspring, when I look at young stuff, I don't look at any one thing. I look at the conformation, the top line, the tail set, the horn shape, the color. And these calves, they got extension of neck. They've got a little length in their body. They got a leg underneath them. They're not a short-legged one in the bunch. And it's just a doggone hard set of calves to find a fault with. Well, that's, and I like to look at the whole calf, at every characteristic. And when you can look at them and you can't see anything you'd change, you got to be happy.
Absolutely. It's definitely a good-looking set of calves out there.
I was going to ask, you touched on a little bit, how did the partnership come about? We spoke yesterday to some people that were talking about the benefits of partnerships at times when strategically done. Was this something that y'all had always wanted to do, or did it kind of happen organically?
Let Bob start with how we got okay, and then I'll go next.
Well, I raised him, and of course his mother's very special to me because I feel the same way about her I do him. I think she's the best female I ever raised. And this was her first calf. She was a first calf heifer. Well, when that calf was born, he just looked special. He had special coloring. He reminded me of his mother when she was born. And as he kept growing, he just kept getting bigger. Those calves, they go through gangly stages in their yearling year, and he just kept getting better, and he just kept getting better. And when he was a yearling, I gave half of him to Wayne to go show, and because I've shown horses all my life. I'm road foundered. I don't want to go up and down that road that much anymore. So I gave half of him to Wayne to go show and take to, because he's going to lots of fraternities.
Yeah.
And that started the whole thing.
So
when I saw Hawaiian Dancer, who was always one of my favorites of Bob's, the best rebel daughter that Bob has, and arguably one of the best rebel daughters in the industry. And I saw that calf, and I was really green at that time. This was in 2000.
Well, not only the best rebel daughter in the industry, but her mother is the best cowboy up daughter in the industry.
Yeah, correct. So anyway, I saw this calf, and even a naive newcomer eye, you could tell there was something special about that calf. The color, the top line, the extension, all of the stuff. And he had that look. And he had a set of clackers on him at 3 months old that most of these cats would love to see at 6 months. So you could tell he was all bull and he was special. And that was a 3 months. And instantly I started to ask Bob about, well, what are we going to name him? And we didn't rush into it. Because the Hawaiian Dancer name was there, I said, "What about the Big Hawaiian?" And Bob said, I don't like that. And there was text back and forth, and it was a fun deal, and there was no rush, but we got excited about it, and we bounced that Cool Hand Luke idea back and forth, and I don't think we could have come with a better name.
No, that's an awesome name.
Yeah.
That name just fit.
yeah.
And so anyway, I don't know if we were a year into it or so, and Tom Buxton asked if he could come on board, and I ran it by Tom, and it seemed natural because Tom was getting really getting into the game and buying real quality cattle, and it made sense that Luke would go on that type of cattle. So it was a great opportunity, a great chance to really expand Buxton Longhorns into the game, and knew that it was going to go on some quality cattle. And I'll let Tom interject a little bit now.
No, it's when it comes to names, so it's an argument now between Wayne and I who names the first bull calf Cool Clackers. And then we'll expand on that. Then a year ago, we asked Randy to be a part of it.
At the Legacy.
At the Legacy. So this is
Yeah.
1 year anniversary for Randy.
Spotlight Bull, yeah.
And obviously Randy has some great cows. So Randy, I'll let you go from there.
So at the Legacy last year, before the Spotlight Bull opening sold, they came and they said, "Hey, we got an idea. We want you to partner on this bull." And of course, I have Hanging Tough that I got for Bob, and I just love him. And Bob said, "You know, this is going to be one of his best sons, or his best son right now." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm in. Let's do it." And it's really great for me because I'm adding genetics that have not been used on my herd. And I've got some very special outcross cows for him, and we're going to get a look into what he's going to do on those cows without any tough in them. And I think we're going to get some beautiful twisted horn, colorful babies out of them. And if he's doing anything like his dad's doing on them, which I think he's going to throw a little more color than Hanging, and if he does anything like that, we're going to be real excited at the ranch with these calves.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, bringing you in, because of the outcross cattle that you have on a lot of the, checks lines and stuff like that, what Bob's raised. So that's going to be exciting to see as those calves start coming from your cattle. How that cross works out. But,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And, this bull, he's perfect. When you see him, you can't fault him for anything. And that's what I'm trying to do, is put more body and early growth on these cows. And you can just see a difference in their calves, how long they are, tall they are, how wide their back is. It really kind of gets me excited as to what it's going to do to make an all-around cow with this bull.
So you have Hanging Tough, and now you're a partner on Luke. So you got a little bit of consistency there. So you might be able to say, well, now I know Hanging Tough works on these cows, so you might pull him off here, put him over here, and put Luke on those cows kind of deal, or?
So I kind of matched them a little differently. And the way that I did it was based on female lines. These bulls are out of complete different maternal lines. And that's kind of how I'm basing the breedings off of them. I think they're going to end up with different cows altogether every year. I don't think there'll be crossover for them.
Okay.
So, Randy, I got a question on that. You're putting Cool Hand Luke on Tempter genetics, or what's the cross you're thinking?
Absolutely. So I talked to Bob a few weeks ago. I called him and I said, what would you do if you was I? And I threw out a few cows and different pedigrees, and we agreed. We think that Tempter line, those big cows, a lot of times they'll get a lot of navel on them, or they'll have a lot of skin under their neck. But we believe that Cool Hand Luke could be the best cross on them to keep lateral horn, but keep the twist in it, keep the color going in it, and then clean up the body, the navel and the skin.
Outstanding. And to your point about navel, we don't have navel on Luke calves. It's amazing.
None.
So that what you're speaking of makes all the sense in the world, that it could really work well.
Talking about skin, I'm fanatic about that. I have no skin in my herd. That's something I've bred for years. I want real tight-skinned animals, and I like a cow to look like a female. I want some femininity in my females. I love big cows, but I want to keep them feminine.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing about Luke. He's just as feminine. If you look at him in the head, he's just clean, and he don't have any skin anywhere. And that's important to me. Because that skin, if you ever get excessive in your herd, it's damn hard to get rid of.
Yeah. And that shows up a lot of times kind of under the chin and the brisket and
Or
around
like
the navel.
on the sheath. If just a little bit of that center part is hanging down, that don't bother me. What bothers me is when it goes to the sheath clear up here, and from the sheath clear back here.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me.
It looks like he's got a ridge running
Yes.
all the way around his belly
Now,
up to his
if
mouth.
the tallywhacker itself is just a little visible, that don't bother me. I just don't want all that crap in front of it or behind it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that could be a breeding issue too, right?
And listen, that is one of the hardest things to get rid of. I can put color on one in one generation. I can put size on them in one generation. Horn, it takes more than one generation. But Skin, now that's hard to get rid of. If you get it started in your herd, you don't get rid of skin in one generation. You can clean it up, but it might take 2 or 3 to get it gone.
Yeah.
We're talking about, you just mentioned horn. I think we haven't mentioned it yet. So Luke's on track with Cowboy Tough as far as Cowboy Tough. I don't know if he's been measured in a couple of years, but 107 is in Luke's future. The way he's growing now is, if you go back historically and look at Cowboy Tough's measurements, Luke's on pace to make that happen, and he's just the complete bull. And I'm going to say this out loud. I had Joel Dickinson come to our ranch, and he looked at Cool Hand Luke, and they've got some of the greatest bulls in the industry in Ohio at Dickinson. But Joel said, "I cannot find a fault on this." Well, that meant a lot for Joel to say that this bull, I cannot find a fault. So that probably took some pride for him to swallow to say that, but he was truthful about it.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to horn, and I'm a tip to tip nut. I'm not a big high horn cow fan. I love tip to tip. If you want tip to tip, it's all about direction, and his direction's perfect. It's going straight out with a little motion. I love it with a little motion.
Yeah, I've noticed with a lot of bulls, they even if they start out kind of flat and coming out, they start to almost go back, and they're coming with a forward swoop. I was looking at him out there, and he's not doing that near as much as a lot of different bulls I've seen.
When you look at your baby bulls, when you're figuring which is a roper and which is a possible herd sire, the horn direction, straight out is okay. I'll watch it, but the ones that tip back, they're level. They're not going up. They're not going down. They're level and just tilted back a little bit. Those are the ones that are going to go. Anything that's here, if they're going up or they're going forward, I'm done as a baby. I want them to come out of that head kind of flat with a little angle backwards. He's going to tip to tip. And then if they start, some of them will look real good tip to tip to about approaching the 2 years, and then all of a sudden they'll do an Alaman left and go straight up. Now, the only way you're going to know about that is if you've bred that set of cattle for several generations, and you've seen 3 or 4 generations in front of them on what they did. Then you have a good idea. If you don't have that knowledge, you just got to pray.
Can't tell. So, about what age are you starting to pay attention to horn sets on your bull prospects?
You know, when I pick a bull calf, you know, I might have 50 bull calves, and I very rarely keep more than 5 or 6. But in the first place, they got to have a mother that I think is one of the top end cows in my herd. They got to have color. They got to have conformation. They got to be clean. I won't keep nothing with skin. They've got to have a good horn direction. Well, when you put all those things together, if you get 5 or 6, you got a pretty good calf crop.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you got to be picky on your bulls now, real picky.
Yeah, and that's interesting you say that out of 50, and we're talking about like 50 of the best calves. You know, Mr. Loomis has one of the best herds in the industry, so if he's keeping 5 or 6, then out of 50, that's being
and I've
ridiculous.
took a lot of them to the sale barn. I've sold a lot of them for trophy steers that made 100, 120-inch horn steers at a young age. I sold a guy named John Smith 15 steers that all made over 100. And they make beautiful steers. It's a shame to sell them for a roper because they make such beautiful trophy steers.
And you know they're going to have the horn, but there might be other things about them you don't like.
If
so
there's one of those qualities missing, I won't keep them.
Yeah.
I've got to like their mother.
Yeah. So you have in mind kind of this year, if these are the cows I'll even consider keeping bull calves out of.
You know, it's funny. Some cows, their heifers are better. Some cows, their bulls are better. Some bulls, their heifers are better. Some bulls, their cows are better. You got to keep, And that's the thing about having a set of cows that you've had for years. And you've had several generations of that family. Then you have a knowledge of that family. If you just go buy a set of the best cows in the industry, it's still kind of a shot in the dark what you're going to get. But after you've had those cows and you've raised several generations out of them and you've watched each generation grow, then you can look and see, well, this calf reminds me of Grandma. And something else I've seen in breeding, sometimes I've made a terrible mistake in this when I was young. I bought a bull one time named Donovan. He was one of the best bodied bags, perfect. He had lots of horn. Well, when his calves were born, I was very disappointed in his horn. So I sold him and all his calves. Well, then a few years later, some of the biggest horn, best females and bulls I'm seeing are out of his sons and daughters. It was the third generation on that bull that cracked. His calves were a little disappointment. Everything I loved except the horn. But that third generation, it was just an explosion.
So you're saying like his grandsons and daughters or whatever, or great-grandsons and daughters, that's where it started to take off.
Well, I've raised pigeons all my life, too.
Okay.
And
I didn't know
with
that.
the pigeons, the first generation is breeders. They're not quite good enough to show. The third generation is the showbirds.
Gotcha. Is it like racing pigeons or?
I raised.
I don't know anything about them.
I raised rollers and
okay.
and racing pigeons and Modinas.
I just learned about the rollers. That's where they
Go up on the
You
other.
have-
They circle, and then they do somersaults.
Yeah.
And they'll go like just somersaults as hard as they can go for 150 feet.
Oh.
And then go back
then
up to
recover.
the.
Right.
And when they're judged, it's on how tight they spin and how fast they get back to the pack.
Wow. Yeah, I just heard about that the other day, and I started looking into it. I was like, this is awesome.
That sounds cool.
Unique.
I had a question for you guys. Obviously, it's a business. There's the financial aspect. But when I hear you guys, each of you talk about, whether it's Cool Hand Luke or just any of your up-and-coming, there's clearly so much of a passion involved. What kind of fulfillment do you get from when you see that yearling coming up and you're like, wow, I've got something here? How fulfilling is that as a breeder?
I think personally, if you're raising calves and any type of animal that you're breeding, if you're not passionate about it, then you're not going to be successful with it. And if the first thing that comes to mind is what is it going to sell for or how much it's going to be worth, then you're doing it wrong. I get super excited this time of the year when the babies start hitting the ground because that's the future of my herd. And, you talk to Bob, you talk to any of us, and we're excited when that calf's going to be a 2-year-old. We're excited when that calf's going to be a 4-year-old. We're excited when it's calves, and we already have those matings planned 5 years out, and we just rush their lives away. But it's very rare you'll hear, I can't wait until it's 2 so I can sell it. I can't wait until I get a paycheck for it. It's always, what are we going to breed it to? What are we going to breed its calves to? Where are we going from here? And that's what makes it fun, makes you want to do it. And if you put financials last place, then those will come easier for you, and your cows will be worth more breeding goods.
It's probably less stressful that way, too.
You probably have 4 of the most passionate guys in the industry for each generation getting better. That's the goal. And when you have one that comes out and it didn't work out, you take that as a learning lesson, right? But the passion at this table is amazing. And I'll go back to why I wanted to get in on Luke is the Rosemary genetics, the Slams Rose and the Rosemary genetics. I have quite a few rowdy daughters, and I wanted to line breed those Rosemary genetics because it's been successful in the industry. I have some rebel daughters. It's part of that generation that you're trying to each one get better. So, Tom, you want to expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, no, it is. It's almost the opposite. So when someone wants to buy one of these cows you got your heart in, it's a hard thing to sell. And man, I've not sold some great high dollar cows because I wanted to see what they are as a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. But Bob, I want to get more into these rolling pigeons. that sounds like a skeet shoot to me.
Might have just found a new passion.
Well, I had to sell my rollers a couple years ago because the Cooper Hawks are getting so dang thick. Every time I'd fly by birds, a Cooper Hawk would get one of them. And they're just, they didn't used to be this thick. But, boy, they're thick today.
And those can be an investment too, right? Like
Pardon?
I said, no, the pigeons can be an investment too, right? When I was looking into it a little bit,
Well,
I mean,
I've
they
had
were.
them since I was little guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Well, do you guys have any cows consigned to the sale? Like I said, this is live, so if you want to talk about any consignments you got in the sale today, then go right ahead.
I've got a cow on there named Twisting Tough, and that's a real twisty horn family. Her mother's a cow named Miss Rita J that just had tremendous twist, and a big 1,400-pound cow. And I've got 2 of those full sisters. And so I have a full sister to this cow. And then I also had a heifer born out of her that I kept this year to replace her. So I've got a lot of that family. So I thought I have to talk myself into selling one like that. You know, and it takes me a while because I'm awful bullheaded. But I tried to pick something nice for the sales this year.
Yeah. Anybody else? If you don't.
Cool Fifth is selling at Lot 1 today at the Saturday sale, and we talk about not wanting to sell something, and the mindset has changed for me. Originally, I wanted to keep everything. Now, I don't mind calves growing up or heifers growing up on other ranches. You still get to see them grow. It gives a chance to. We're fairly new, gives a chance for that M7 brand to get out and get to other parts of the country and try to grow and show what we're doing. But Cool Fifth goes back to Fifth Weapon, which was down at the New Age Cattle for many years, Kathy Hawk, and it's it's got some great genetics, Dragon Lady on the bottom, and then we got Cool Hand Luke on the top. It's one of the first ones that we're selling. In fact, I believe it is the first one that's being sold out of Cool Hand Luke. So the semen was sold out yesterday, and we're very thankful to all the people that have the confidence in our bull and the partnership. And I think the sky's the limit for the future of this bull.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a nice looking heifer you got out there, Wayne. So hopefully she does well for you.
I have 2 lots in tonight's sale. I have Quick Witted, which is a Texaco daughter, and she has measured 81 inches right at her 3rd birthday this week. So she is ahead of most of the cows that are over 100 inches at that age. She'll be an exciting one to watch. That Silver Bull Texaco is really doing a great job. And I have a pick of calf crop in the sale tonight for 2025. So all these calves that I've been working hard on, someone's going to get to walk in and pick whatever they like the best out of the whole year.
That's a unique lot, and that's pick of any calf born on your place. Yeah.
Yep. Nothing's going to be off limits. We're going to get whoever buys it or come down to the ranch, look at cows, look at calves, and then by the end of the year, we'll kind of have an idea of what they want, and they'll get it at weaning. So
that's a really cool consignment. Yeah, I would be nervous.
You better tell them to come and spend a few days because it takes a few days to see all your calves.
Yeah.
I've got lot 29. It's out of CV Cowboy Casanova, which is, I think, sold here a few years back at $120,000. Super nice on the bottom, just big-bodied, just beautiful cow. In fact, I bought that from Wayne. Brought her from Wayne a couple years ago, and she's put some just spectacular babies on the ground, and so she's a real pretty one. So everybody come by and take a look at lot 29.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bob, I'd kick myself if I didn't ask, since I got you sitting here talking. One of the reasons I started doing this podcast is to try to get some information out there for people who are either thinking about getting into Longhorns or just getting into Longhorns. anything like that, new breeders. So what if you could give advice to new breeders, what would be your best piece of advice that you think you could give?
You know, I talk to new breeders all the time, and I love it when they come to the ranch because what I tried it. Most people, when they first get in the industry, they want to buy some $2,500, $3,500 cheaper stuff, and I see so many people, they'll buy some low-end stuff just to have some pretty Longhorns in the pasture, and then they start getting serious and going to sales, and then they have to sell everything and start over. And my best advice is just take that money and buy one good one. Buy the best one you can afford, and start that way. Don't go buying 10 in a group and buy somebody's low end out. You know, just go buy one really good one at a time. Build your herd slow. Invest wisely, and that's going to be the best program. I'd rather have 3 outstanding cows than 33 average cows.
Yeah.
And you can make more money because the average cows don't make no money. You know, the average or below average cows, you're going to go to the sale barn and it's whatever they're bringing. But the really good cattle, you can bring them here, where they bring what they're worth.
Makes sense. I've heard one thing I've always heard is $1,000 cow eats the same amount as a $10,000 cow.
They eat more than they make. And here's another thing about bulls. I've seen a lot of new breeders get in this business and buy some really nice cows, and put some, and then go buy a piece of a sorry bull. And
It was a good save.
the smartest money you can spend is the best bull you can afford. Because that bull's the sire of 50% of your calf crop.
Right.
And a low-end bull isn't going to do anything. I don't care how good a bred he is. I don't care how good this was or that was. You need a bull that's a good individual, the best one you can afford, and he'll make you more money. That's the wisest money you can spend.
So we said it earlier when we were talking about Luke, you wanting to use him to maybe fix certain traits, like you'll put him on a cow where you think he's going to be able to improve certain things on a cow in the calves that are coming.
There's not a lot of bulls like Luke out there. I think you could fix about any trait you want to fix with him, because I can't pick nothing I don't like.
Right.
Like, I think conformation is terribly important to me. I can't stand a bad back. I can't stand a bad tail set. I don't like skin. And if you'll just start out with nice, complete cattle that are correct structurally, I think structural correctness is the hardest thing to fix. And if you just, everything you buy, be sure it's structurally correct, has good color. But, you know, I'll tell you one myth in this industry. I love red cows. And if you study the industry, some of the best producing cows that's ever been in this industry have been red. And if you've got a bull that produces color, you put him on them red bulls or red cows, and you'll raise some of the loudest colored calves you've ever owned. But I love a red cow.
Yeah,
and some of the best cows producers have been red.
Yeah, I love red cows too. And a lot of times you can get them for less than they're worth because for some reason they just get discounted.
Anybody that sells all their red cows is probably selling 75% of their best producers.
Yeah.
I think that's wise advice, all that.
So we were talking a little bit yesterday with a couple guys who exclusively do AI, using different bulls to put on different cows to try to, for really specific reasons. Like, I think that this cow needs to have this, maybe it's her back end or whatever, fixed a little bit, so I'm going to use this bull because I think he'll be able to fix that. What are your thoughts on AI, using AI in that way?
I think AI is one of the best tools in the world for a new breeder. They can buy semen to the best bulls in the industry, and bulls that they couldn't probably afford to buy and bring those genetics into their herd. And semen is not expensive compared in the Longhorn. Even like this Luke semen at $1,000 a straw, I'll guarantee you 5 years from now, we're going to look back at these and think just how reasonable that was when we see what it produces. But AI is what a great, for myself, as many years as I've been doing it, I like to have multiple bulls. I like to have a partnership in a lot. There isn't a number that's too many. If it's a great one, I'd like to have part of it because I bring new genetics in my herd through the bulls.
Gotcha. So diversifying by, like you said.
Another thing I want to say about bulls, I'm real fun. I love color. I love loud colored cattle. Well, if you are breeding a basically red bull or a basically white bull, you're going to raise a lot of. You ain't going to raise a lot of color. You're going to raise a lot of. I think you need a bull that's has color and produces color. I won't hardly breed a bull that doesn't have good color. Because now I love red cows, but I'd rather have the chicken pox than a red bull.
I like it. And a lot of times that color is the first thing that people see. So even if it's not, the most important thing to someone else, it's still what brings you in.
Well, and I like bulls that produce that color.
Right. Yeah.
That's where the red cows come in. I love red cows as long as I got bulls that produce color.
So we mentioned earlier, Nick was asking some yesterday about, partnerships, and he's not around the Longhorns hardly at all. He helps me with this, but asking what's the benefits of partnering on an animal versus just owning it yourself outright. So something you said when we were first starting to talk today was that you raised him and then you gave half to Wayne because Wayne's showing. So that had value. That partnership made sense because Wayne is driving all over the country showing them. So he's getting him out there and then getting him in front of more people. So there's lots of different benefits.
I love partnership bulls because I like to have an interest in several bulls where I can pull different genetics in my herd. But I don't want 15 bulls on the ranch at one time. So when I'm done breeding them, they go to a partner. And you don't have all these bulls on the ranch giving each other the finger all day.
That gets complicated.
But yet you still have the service of all these wonderful bulls. And another thing about partnerships, I have made some of the best friendships with bulls, partnerships. I mean, just friendships that you have something in common to talk about that you're interested in, and bull partnerships are very fun.
Yeah.
But pick people you enjoy spending time with, to partner with. I've got the greatest set of partners that you could ever ask for, and it makes it fun.
Yeah. That's great, and it's beneficial to everybody, I think, when you get a good partnership like that. And like you were saying earlier, you put them on different sets of cows, it just makes the bull look good.
I like to bring if I see a family of cattle or something I really like, I want to bring it in my herd. I'm going to do it with a bull. Because I've got a base set of cows that I'm very happy with. And I'll buy a cow or two a year just to play the game. But it's bulls that I'm interested in, that I want to bring in my herd.
Yeah, because like you said, 50%, they're going to be 50% of the genetics.
Right.
So then the next year you might bring in another bull to keep it moving down the line. But, that's great. You got any questions?
No, I think all the stuff I was wondering you guys answered.
Awesome.
Well, one thing about it, this is a pretty windy group, so.
Yeah. Well,
we certainly appreciate y'all's time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sitting down with us. But anything else y'all want to talk about before we let you get out there?
I think we're a great team. I think the sky's the limit of where this partnership's going, and look forward to the people that bought the semen. It's very, very exciting that the level of interest, and I mean we could have sold another 100 straws today, but that's not, the money isn't the object. It's the object is to make sure that it's going on the greatest cattle that Luke can go on. So it's exciting. The future's bright.
Yeah. Are you
2
going to
years
be?
from now, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to be showing some Luke offspring this year in Futurities, Wayne?
Yes, we showed a couple bulls, and I'm glad you brought that up. We showed a couple bulls earlier in the year, and instantly they asked if they were for sale, these bull calves. And I promised the partners we were not selling any of those bull calves until everybody had a chance to have those genetics. There's partnerships that don't have that mindset of taking care of their partners and making sure that they get a shot at those genetics first. That's a these guys asked, well, when can we buy him? I said, I've got your name down, but he's not for sale until the partners have those genetics. So I think that's what makes this partnership good. It's we care about each other, and we care about that everybody gets a fair shake on that.
Yeah, taking care of them.
I think that's phenomenal. I mean, I could see it going, if you weren't invested in each other's success, I could see it going poorly pretty easily.
Well, another thing, like on these partnership bulls, I wouldn't dream of selling a bull that I was in partnership with anybody without talking to my partner first and saying, is this somebody that you would enjoy partnering with? Is it okay with you if I sell my interest to so-and-so? I think you've got to be thoughtful of your partners and make sure you don't sell your interest to a bull with somebody that they just cannot get along with. Because if you're partnered with people that are fun and have the same objective you have, it's one of the funnest things and the best parts of the industry. But there's nothing worse than a bad partner that's a pain in the whatever. And
Take your pick, right?
yeah, so you want to make sure that your partners are people you enjoy doing business with
That makes a lot
and
of sense.
spending time
Yes,
with.
sir. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's good advice,
Yeah, it does.
too. All right, well, gentlemen, we appreciate it. And if there's something else you want to talk about, feel free. We're here. So, but if not, I think we're good.
Yeah. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Man, thank you.
Oh, yeah, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Hopefully we'll talk again soon at one of these other sales.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Can you steal one of these hats?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Boys, you want one of these hats?
Yeah, and there's
got a
stickers too.
couple.
Yeah, help yourselves. I think that was very insightful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Thank
think,
you again.
I think
Yes,
we
sir.
learned a whole lot from what they had to say.
Absolutely. That was awesome.
And it seems like they're really pillars in the game. that's them still laughing, having a good time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was 48 minutes.
Nice.
Man, that was cool. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tiny bit starstruck talking to Bob Loomis. I mean, I've talked to him before, but it's just Bob is such a wealth of knowledge. It's like
How long's he been in it?
long time. I don't know, but he does reining horses.
What's
he's
that?
Reining. I'm not gonna.
So he
attempt-
does cattle, horses, pigeons. I didn't even know you could breed pigeons.
Yeah.
I thought they just.
I'm not going to attempt to explain reining horses because I'll probably get it wrong. And there's some very passionate people. So, but basically, it's a discipline of horsemanship, and you breed certain types of horses for it. So he did that for a long time. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Texas Longhorn Hall of Fame.
Nice. I know my
The
next
Godfather. Yeah.
my
Now
next
we got,
YouTube search is going to be breeding pigeons.
yeah. Did you know that Bob Loomis used to breed pigeons?
No, I did not. I know he has some exotics, and Pam has some ponies.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Say your ranch.
I'm Micah Landis, and I'm from Landis Farms in Jamesport, Missouri.
Missouri.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's kind of hard to follow that group of guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. But you'll do great. So do you guys have anything consigned to the sale today?
We actually don't have anything consigned to
Okay.
the sale, but this is a hell of a lineup of cattle. I mean, this is always one of
Absolutely.
the best of the year. So we're here to socialize and maybe bid on one or two.
There you go. So, what's your favorite thing about coming to these events in person?
Well, good cattle and the people. I mean, the people are so welcoming. I remember the very first time we came to this event, it was 3 years ago, and our friend now, Wade Wagner, introduced himself to us and really made us feel welcome from the beginning. And the people are so good, and they're always happy to help and share their information and, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
We were talking earlier, and you said that this specific sale you said it's your favorite?
Yes, it is one of my favorites of the year. This, like I said, the quality of cattle is outstanding. They do such a good job of screening the cattle and making sure it's all good quality. And who doesn't love coming to a place and the cows walk right into the ballroom? And that's pretty cool.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, we've been talking about that all weekend. Like, you don't get very many opportunities to watch cows sell in a hotel ballroom.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very unique. So it's fun. Everybody should experience it once.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a good time.
So you mentioned it. You don't have anything consigned this time, but you do consign from time to time. How do you make that decision of where you want to consign, when you want to consign? What is your thought process when you think about those things?
Sure. Well, there's a few variables. I do have some cows consigned this year, but for instance, the Legacy Sale is the top, the elite. So anything that I have right now that is qualified to come to the sale, I don't want to let go of yet. I need to get a heifer or two out of them before I do that. But I hope to consign in the future, and I have bought the last 2 years at this sale, and I've bought really good quality cattle that are now in my main cows in my herd. So, but I do have some consigned throughout the year. I've got some heifers and some middle-aged cows that'll be selling.
Okay.
I'm a new breeder, so I started in the last I started 4 years ago, small, and so I've been breeding, building my foundation cows and kind of getting rolling. Hopefully in the next year or two, I'll have my stock come into town to sell.
Got you. What got you hooked?
Well, we've always had cattle. We have a big row crop farm in Missouri, and we have commercial cattle. And my husband and I said, wouldn't it be cool to have a steer out there by the pond, by the house? And so he sent me one day by myself to a sale with a trailer. And I got there, and I didn't fall in love with the steer, but I bought 3 bred cows and brought them home. And, then I got them home, and he said, well, we need a bull. And then that's where it all started. We didn't get serious until we bought Cowboy Casanova's Pride at Legends in the fall. And so then once we had a really good bull, we knew we had to get some good cows to put him on. So that's when we got serious.
Yeah, absolutely. So is that the bull that you guys are still using?
We do still use Pride. We do have we have 2 other bulls. I own a bull named Iron Man with Harrell Ranch, and he's our up-and-coming herd sire. But I'm breeding Pride's daughters to him as well.
Gotcha.
So, yep.
He's a Pacific Cowboy son?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
He's almost 90 inches, and he's 3. So we're proud of him. We hope that he gets 100 like his dad.
Yeah, that's
He's
awesome.
on track.
90 inches at 3 is
Yeah.
Seems like there's a solid chance, right?
Pretty good chance, yeah.
But not only
That's
does he have a lot of horn, he's got a lot of body, and he's throwing it on his calves. He's putting really good hips on all the calves. So we're really excited. This is our first crop out of him this year.
Awesome. So that's what you're talking about. You're like, I got to hang on a little bit longer to see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you want to bring your best to town, and I'm excited to be able to sell my own breeding at some point. So, yeah.
Yeah, something with your brand on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You do want to bring your best to town, but you also want to hold on to your breeders so that you can establish your foundation, like what you were saying. You can't sell off all your stuff, otherwise you'd just be starting over every year, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. We were walking through this morning the pens, and that's something I was talking to Andrew about. I was like, it's gotta be cool to see your brand on something that's in this pen, especially as a newer breeder. Like, that's got to be fulfilling when you see that.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine, that you maybe sold a heifer at 2, and then you see her come through a sale at 8 or 9, and she's this big, huge, deep-bodied cow that has produced really good progeny. That will be very fulfilling when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, as relatively new in the game, what's one thing that you could change, if you could go back in time, what's one thing you would change about the whole process?
I definitely, if I knew now what I was going to do in the beginning, it was going to be for fun just to have a cool looking cow standing out in the pasture. I didn't know how serious it was going to get, and my husband got hooked. But if I could change it, I would go visit other ranches and find the kind of cattle that I like, and then try to put together my herd that way. Because, I bought some nice cows when I started out, but they aren't the same quality of cows that I have today. And so I think it's important to not get like, oh, look at the shiny new car, and you're like, oh, I just want a cow.
Yeah.
You have to study a little bit before and go and experience other people's ranches and their breeding and see what you like, and then you start picking the traits you like and the pedigrees off that.
Yeah. Ideally, you would do all your research before you ever bought a cow, right? But that's usually not the way it goes.
Yeah, I'd say 99% of the time it's not that way. But yeah, you learn. I mean, I try to learn every day something different, but it's definitely, you feel like you did it backwards. You should have done the research, then bought the cattle, but
Yeah.
everybody gets excited about having a cool looking cow.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you don't really get to do that because you have to have the cows in order to fall in love with the cows and get hooked on breeding the cows, and then you start.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's how everybody does it. But
That's cool though. So if somebody wanted to look at your herd, or you're on Hired Hand and all that, do you have social media accounts?
Absolutely. So on Facebook, we're Landis Farms, Jamesport, Missouri. And we are landisfarmsmo.com on Hired Hand. And yes, if you want to come in person, we always welcome people at our house, and we have transit pins if anybody needs to stop on the way north. We're about 80 miles north of Kansas City, so right
Okay.
off 35.
And for like Texas to, let's say, like Plains, Great Lakes, that's kind of right on the way, right?
Kind of, yeah. If you go up 35, like to go to Dan's sale that's going to be up in July, I've got the Allens are going to stop at our house on the way. It'll be about halfway point. So, yeah.
that's nice.
But
That's got to be pretty fun, getting to spend some time with a bunch of different people at your place. And,
absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
I could see how that would be really cool.
Yeah, we always, we love the cows, and we love to share them with other people. So we're always excited when we can have people come and see them in person. It's good to have a website and all that, but it's not the same as seeing all the cattle in person. So
hard to beat looking at them in person.
Absolutely,
Pick
yeah.
out some different stuff that you can't get from a picture.
Yeah. Well, pictures never do anything justice, right?
Yeah. And we always try to do the same. Like if we're going somewhere and we know a breeder's on the way there or the way back, we just bought a tractor last week, and it was an hour and a half from Stoltz's. So I called them and I said, hey, you guys going to be home on Sunday? We'll stop by on the way back. So we got to see their herd, which was really fun to do. And so
Nice.
I think it's important. All of us would like to help each other and show our breeding program to each other. So if you're going somewhere and you're close to a breeder, call them up and see if they are available. I mean, that's a good way to look at a lot of cattle.
That's good advice for people getting started too, is go and look at other herds before you start buying cows if you can, because then you'll be able to pick out things that you like and things that you don't like, and make a decision on what kind of cows you want to move forward with your program.
Sure. One other thing I would say as a new breeder is one of the best events that I went to was the Horn Showcase, because you see all those bulls and you're buying semen on them and things like that, but you're looking at a picture normally, where you can go to the Horn Showcase and see 20 of the top bulls and buy the semen off the bull by looking at him and seeing him, and I think that's important too.
Yeah, definitely. Horn Showcase is awesome. If you've never been, you should go, because
Absolutely.
like you said, Bull Alley, being able to see all the bulls side by side, you see pictures of them all the time. Everybody usually runs a deal on semen sales for their bulls during Horn Showcase, so you can go and it's all in one place. Take your tank, grab a couple of straws of these bulls that you want to use, and it's cool to see them side by side, because you'll be like, oh, I thought he was bigger than that.
Exactly. And
Or,
sometimes you
"Oh,
think,
wow,
oh
he's
man,
bigger than I
he's
thought."
way bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
Nice.
it's always good to see them in person.
Yeah.
I
And
think
going to futurities is also good, because you can see a lot of heifers out of bulls. And so, that's another thing, is you can pick some heifers. You're like, man, I really like this heifer, so now I want to cross my cow on her sire or whatever. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to see the production, because that's the most important thing about a bull, right, is what's he producing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to plug?
I don't think so, but like I said, we're welcome anytime at our place. We have semen available on Ironman. We have embryos available for sale and breeding stock available. So give me a call anytime. Come by.
you guys have some
Okay.
calves out of Ironman?
We do.
Okay, cool.
We have about 8 calves right now that just started hitting the ground. So
Nice.
we're really excited. And
That is
I'm very
exciting.
proud of him, because he's putting good hips on all of them. And they're really some of our best quality calves that we've ever had. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, thanks for talking with us, Micah.
Okay, thanks for
It's
having
always
me.
good talking with you.
Yeah,
You too.
appreciate it.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
I wonder who we're going to get next. There's been
know.
some good interviews so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just so consistently impressed with how much time and effort goes into all these decisions. Who's breeding who, and even learning about partnerships. That was kind of a new concept to me.
Yeah.
And how complex four parts in a partnership. That seems like it could get complex, but they're loving it.
Yeah, for sure. And what they were saying is very true. You got to make sure that you get in partnership with the right people.
I'm
That's
sure that's a
with anything,
principle
right?
in life. Yeah.
Yeah. Be around people you enjoy being around. Kind of a novel concept, huh?
Yeah. And sometimes it's cool. Sometimes you're forced to work with people that you don't enjoy, but when you can pick, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And so you mentioned it a little bit yesterday, but are you partnered on one or two different animals?
I'm partnered on one. I'm partnered on a bull.
Okay.
CTA, the mediator, with the Abels.
Right. And
So I own half of him. That's how that works.
Right. And you've already bred your...
Yeah, I bred my heifer, Hicks Hydroponic, to him.
Okay.
So I should have a calf on the way in the next couple months.
Okay. So for you like your calving season to be spring?
Yeah.
Late
calving
spring?
season for where we're at in North Carolina, I like kind of early spring. 'Cause
Early
we're
spring.
not that cold, so they can have them in March and be fine.
Okay.
In some places you can't really do that. Like, up in Michigan,
It's still too cold.
their breeding season is later than ours because they want them. Yeah, it'd probably be not the best idea to have February and even March calves. They usually shoot for a little bit later than that, so it warms up some. But the reason I like it where we're at is because if they have them in the spring, they'll be able to be weaned in the fall. Around 6 months is when I usually wean. So if I can wean them in the fall, then the moms don't have to carry that extra load through the cold weather.
Okay.
So
When you
if
say
a cow
extra
is,
load, you're saying...
the calf nursing on her.
Right, okay.
She has to produce milk. She has to take care of that calf. That's nutrients leaving her body, which
Right.
means she needs to eat more. I would rather her be able to retain those nutrients throughout the winter to maybe either eat less or just keep her in better shape.
Okay.
Because she's growing the next calf. Right? They don't
okay.
really get much time off.
Right.
How you doing, Mike? No, not at all. Said, are you a celebrity now?
Oh, yeah.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah. We got
that makes sense.
4 people watching. I think it's pretty far from stardom.
Yeah.
But we appreciate the 4 people that are watching.
For sure.
Thank you, guys.
For sure. The real ones, the 4 realists
That's
out
right.
there.
One of them might be my mom.
I was thinking one of them might be my mom.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm supposed to give my aunt a shout out, so shout out Aunt Mandy.
Shout out Aunt Mindy.
She asked yesterday, so she was mad at me for not doing it yesterday.
Well, Aunt Mindy, I think she deserves a full 30 seconds. What's your favorite thing about Aunt Mindy?
You ask for a shout out, you're gonna get put on blast a little bit. You want to get real? She's one of the most caring people that I've ever met, and she always she's very genuine when she cares about you. She cares about you, and she expresses it.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
I think that's important. When you feel something, you should say something.
Yeah, for sure. See something, say something.
That's right. Yeah, all that. All right. Shout out Aunt Mindy. Nice.
Shout out Mama too.
Yeah, and if my mom's listening, shout out.
Hey, we were talking about your mom earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a character. She's
Love your
fun.
mom.
She's a lot of fun.
She's one of the I don't want to say stereotypical because it's 100% genuine, but her southernness is
Yes. Southern through and through.
is there.
Yep.
And she'll say bless your heart and mean it.
Yeah, no, it's not the condescending bless your heart. She's actually wanting blessings for your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how that turned into such a condescending term, but truly it didn't start out that way.
No, I've seen it used both ways.
Yeah.
My nana is a master of
Doing it both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Bless your heart and
I
bless
think
your
all the
heart.
best old Southern women can use it both ways.
Flip it off
in a way
wrong.
that you don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Hey, look, she just texted me.
So we're getting ready for the cow sale today, right?
Yep.
And so the difference is these animals are older, they're more developed, they've already bred at least once or multiple times.
Well, technically, a heifer is a female that hasn't had a calf yet.
and at her first calf.
A cow at her first calf, she becomes a cow.
Okay.
That's technical. You'll hear people loosely use those terms, but technically, that's what they mean.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Yesterday was the heifer sale. A good example is there were some heifers yesterday that sold with a calf inside. So
right.
technically,
So
they're not.
Technical. Okay.
But maybe they were when they consigned them.
Oh, it might have been
You
their
know what I mean?
first calf.
So-
Yeah. Okay.
And they, like I said, usually they set an age, and they'll be like anything younger than 3 you can consign,
Okay.
or something like that. And
That
then
makes
they'll
sense.
do the cow sale, and I think they're selling a heifer in the cow sale today. So it's yeah, try to switch it up, make it interesting for people.
Yeah.
But
Right on. Yeah, like we said at the start of this, it seems like a lot of people are really excited for this. I was thinking myself, this is only the third one I've been to, and the other 2 didn't have a cow sale, just had a heifer
true.
sale.
Yeah,
so
you've only been to Millennium
Yeah.
twice, which is, and they call it an elite heifer sale, and they only sell heifers. So you've never seen a mature Longhorn sale at auction.
no, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna see it here in a couple hours,
Yeah,
or 1 hour at this point. We've been going for over an hour.
it flew by.
We talked to the Luke partners for almost 50 minutes.
The Loop partners?
Luke.
Luke.
Cool Hand
oh,
Luke.
oh, Cool Hand Luke. Yeah. Misunderstood what you said.
But,
There's a lot of people passing. We need to grab somebody.
yeah. You think we should do one more interview?
Yeah, why not? See who we can grab.
Not that people don't enjoy listening to us talk about our mamas.
Right. Yeah, that was a bit unexpected. But hey, moms should be appreciated.
Absolutely. Get the shout
I
outs.
see Johnny. Think you
Let's see if I can grab
convince
him.
him?
He said he's not gonna.
Yeah,
Get him to
but
come and talk about his cow.
Maybe if you put a little pressure on him,
Can you solo it for a second?
we'll see.
You know any card tricks?
No. So again, if you're just tuning in, we are at the Legacy Sale in Grapevine, Texas. Excited to be here. Day 2, we did several interviews yesterday. Went really well. But today, the Cool Hand Luke partnership, I think, was awesome to get to talk to them, hear what they had to say. They had a lot. If you weren't listening at the start, they had a lot to say about the animal himself, but also their partnership. And so it was really cool to hear what they had to say. Andrew just walked the other direction, so I'm guessing it's not going to happen with Johnny. So we'll see who he grabs. So set up here at the Legacy Sale, they have a lot of different booths. They had, I forget the company name, but they're selling all kind of different rifles, scopes, handguns, pistols, all kind of stuff. Which, from what I hear, that's about as Texas as you can get, Longhorns and guns. So, I guess it's pretty on brand. I think we got our next interviewee coming with Andrew.
Well, can't edit it this much.
All right, have a seat and grab that microphone.
All right. Grab that microphone and introduce yourself if you don't mind.
ready?
Yeah.
Travis Johnson with LTJ.
Is it on?
That's what I was asking.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
sorry.
You ready?
Good to go.
Travis Johnson with LTJ Longhorns.
Thanks for coming and talking with us.
Sure.
I just went and grabbed you out of the crowd. I said, Travis will talk to me.
That's right. I'll talk to anybody.
Well, we appreciate it. So what y'all got going on down there in your herd?
Well, we're doing good. This year was very unusual winter for us. In Florida, we actually had 8 inches of snow.
Wow.
So it was different for us how to take care of them. Cows shrunk up a little bit on us, but they're recovering. Grazing's out, so doing good. I have Game Changer out right now with the main herd, and just bought a Chatterbox son, and he's out with the heifers. So I go pick up Investment, which me and Jimmy Jones own. I go pick him back up from the Mileses in a couple of weeks. So it's getting springtime, and start fattening them up and get them ready.
Yeah. Well, so we were talking with the partners on Cool Hand Luke earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking a lot about bull partnerships. What's a benefit that you get from partnering on a bull versus just buying one outright?
Well, our biggest thing about partners is us being from the Panhandle of Florida. Our breeding season is we start putting the bulls out about the first of end of October in the winter. So the best part with us partnership is try to partner with somebody up north. So the bull is being used all the time. So during their hard winter, we keep him and we're breeding, and then during our heat of our summer, we send him north.
Yep.
So that's the benefit we see it.
Awesome.
Is it easier on the bull himself?
I think so. I think a bull is better off to be used. I've noticed with when we didn't partnership and the bull was just staying in the pen, bulls are, if they're not being used or whatever, they can be a pain in the rear end a little
get
bit.
restless.
They do, absolutely. They
Start getting into mischief.
That's right. But I think a busy bull is a healthy bull. That's just my personal opinion.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd agree
And it
with
keeps
that.
him young. I mean, I know Investment, he's turning 10 this year. He's been good to us. You can only, and another reason is if you outright own a bull by yourself, you can only use him so much, you know. And so the more partners, I think 2 or 3 partners, you get him in a good rotation and just get good partners that'll work with you. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
Is there any specific breedings that you're most excited about for this coming up calf crop?
Well, our calves just dropped, and
that's right.
yeah, and so we did good. I used a Celerate this past year from Nancy Dunn and Jimmy Jones and them. He did well. I didn't have a lot of mama cows. I'm only in my 3rd year in it, and we bought a bunch of heifers. We're real young, but now I've got 20 heifers that's going to be first time mamas this time, so
Wow.
we're getting there. But a lot of them I bought dropped the most of the calves I really enjoy is Django's. I mean, he's dropped some flashy ones, and then now I've partnered up on Irish Luck, and I'm excited
did you?
about
Okay.
So I'm excited about his
He's a nice
calving.
bull.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about his calves coming in and stuff too.
That's very cool. I like a lot of those Django heifers that I'm seeing.
Yeah, and I've used Wayne a lot on that. So
Yeah.
I bought quite a few heifers from him on that, but it's been exciting.
Yeah. So you said you bought a lot of heifers when you were getting started. Was there any particular thought process behind that versus buying mature cows, or you just kind of wanted to start your own thing from the ground up? Or
I leaned on being close to Jimmy Jones and Terry. I've leaned on them a lot. Bought a couple from that, which anything Jimmy will sell me, I'll take. I mean, you can't go wrong there.
Right.
But we were looking for a low lateral twist with color. My wife, she loves color in the pasture. She don't want to just see all. So we tried. I know you can't chase color. You never know what you're going to get.
Sure.
But we were chasing low lateral twist as much as we can.
Gotcha.
And so that's what we've kind of stuck our game plan in. Our bulls we try to use that, a bull that throws it. And Randy Murray's been good to us also, letting us get cows from him with the low lateral twist too.
Yeah. So you're looking back in the pedigree and trying to line up as many as you can with
That's
the horn
right.
set that
We're
kind of
all
horns
about
that
doing that.
You're breeding for.
That's correct. We're trying to load, and you never know what you know that as much as us. You
For-
never know what you want to
sure.
get, but that's our goal in life. Is I tried to learn that from Jimmy. We're trying to get that long roll going and a big body cow. I'm all about a long, thick cow. We're trying to get away from the shorter, thinner cows, and I like a long, thick cow.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
What part of Florida you say you was from?
We are about 50 miles north of Panama City Beach.
It's a Panhandle.
Yes. Sir.
Okay.
The true Florida.
True Florida. Yeah. Yeah. Anything? What
It's
is
still
it? South
Florida.
of,
South of Ocala, it gets a little.
Okay.
It's not, and nothing against them people. I ain't meaning like, because I actually graduated from down there. It's just different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
The
just,
Tampas,
yeah,
the Orlandos, and stuff.
different.
But, yeah.
That's a good way to put that. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all did get quite a bit of a winner this year.
Yes, I actually bought a heifer from Wayne and brought her home. And 3 days later, we had a blizzard in Florida. Believe it or not, I sent pictures of Wayne. I was like, I may have to bring her back. I don't know if she was prepared for this or not.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What was it? New Orleans got a foot.
yeah. Well, we had 7 inches on the beach. Like you'd have to dig through snow to get to the sand.
Man.
Wow.
So, it was cool.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that don't happen very often.
I'm 50, and it's the first time in my life. You will get a snow flurry every once in a while, but nothing sticks.
Really?
Yeah.
I came home, the wife and my mother-in-law was building snowmen in the front yard. It was
It would
wild.
be pretty cool.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our area has never seen snow, so the roads were shut down. Farmers were having to use spray rigs to spray the roads with salt. And I mean, it was
Seeing those pictures of New Orleans under snow was something.
Oh yeah.
Bourbon
Yeah.
Street with
Yeah,
snow on.
with a foot of snow.
I was thinking about all the kids that, when we were kids, snow days was the best day ever. But now they just switched to Zoom. They don't get to enjoy it.
That's absolutely correct. My daughters did that in college. They don't go to half their classes. It's all on videos
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yep. Yep. The snow day is disappearing.
We only had hurricane days where we were at. We didn't have-
I don't think those were as much fun probably as
oh,
snow
no.
days.
You had to get everything locked down. But no.
What do you like about coming to these events in person? I've been trying to ask everybody that since.
Man, meeting everybody. Yeah, you can't meet. This is our family away from there. That's the whole part, is getting to know people. I mean, like I said, the short time we've been in it in 3 years, it's been amazing. Just everybody's nice, and sometimes when we first got in, it was scary when you meet people so nice. You think, what are you up to? In real life, that's what. But no, we really and truly have not ran across anybody that's just been a knucklehead. Everybody's nice and willing to share information, and I love that.
Yeah, that is a really cool part of coming to these things for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for somebody getting into the game?
I was actually talking to a young couple, or not a young couple, a couple that was this is their first one. And like everybody told me, it's hard, and I didn't do it, but be patient, take it slow. And I didn't, but if you don't, you'll start over real quick, don't buy what everybody tells you to buy. Buy what you like. Enjoy your cows, because, if you start buying what everybody else likes, you'll run in circles year after year. It all changed.
Yeah, you definitely can't listen to every person you talk to.
No.
Because everybody likes something a little different.
That's right.
You just got to go for solid foundation animals, but with your own.
Yeah, you have to stick to a good pedigree. But
Yeah.
besides that, you get what you like. If you like high horn cows, get them. There's people out there that love them. It's not what we like, but some people do. Some people like white ones. Some people don't.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just whatever you like, because you have to look at them every day in the pasture.
That's one of the coolest things about Longhorns. There's kind of something for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming over and talking to us.
Man, it's
Travis.
good to talk to you, Andrew. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and let's have a good time again tonight.
Yeah, sounds
good.
Everybody
Thank you
can
so much.
watch on hired hand if you ain't here in person. Bid on some cows. Oh, I forgot to ask. Do you guys have one consigned today? Okay. All right.
No.
We
Okay.
flew in, so we just flew in. We're gonna fly out, and Randy's gonna haul a couple we bought last night.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, enjoy it.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Yep. All right. Well, that's probably a good enough time to wrap her up.
I think so.
People are starting to filter in here. We've done some awesome interviews.
Yeah, I can't wait to
I'm
listen
excited
back to this episode.
Cow sale is going to start in about 45 minutes. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, like I said, if you're not here in person, you can watch it on Hired Hand Live and buy you some cows. So, thanks for watching day 2 of the Big Iron Podcast Live at the Legacy Sale, and we'll talk at y'all later.